This show is all about star parties and just how wonderful they are for anybody. Whether you're just dipping your toes into practical amateur astronomy with no experience or equipment to enjoy the skies, or a seasoned astronomer or astrophotographer with thousands of pounds of equipment of your own and dark skies in your own back garden. Or just people looking for a getaway with an added bit of wow that have never considered geeking out on an astronomy weekend.
Star parties aren't well advertised, they aren't well known, but they are an experience that can change your life. Open your eyes and mind to the glory of the night skies and take you on a journey into the universe that you can't get anywhere else. Instead of looking at pixels in an image from the Hubble Space Telescope, dark skies let you see entire galaxies and clouds of gas and dust in the universe where new stars are being born in a different way. The photons of light from those astounding objects are actually hitting your retinas. You're really seeing them. Without wanting to sound a bit new agey, you're sensing them and absorbing them physically through your eyes.
You might even be looking at a galaxy with a star that has a planet with intelligent life living on it, looking back in this direction, wondering, like us, if life exists somewhere out there. We know there are trillions of planets like Earth out there in the cosmos. Like Carl Sagan wrote for the movie Contact, the universe is a pretty big place. If it's just us, it seems like an awful waste of space.
And you can take my word for it how awe-inspiring a long weekend at a star party is, because I started one back in 2012. Now I'm no longer running one. I'm impartial, but a passionate believer in how great star parties are. I didn't expect mine to be anything more than a few friends in a field looking at the stars, but it became a mecca for people interested in astronomy, and I've met most of my lifelong friends there too.
So, if you've not been to a star party before, and you're clearly interested in the night sky, that's why you're here, right? Then hopefully this can persuade you that a few nights under the stars enjoying galaxies, star clusters, nebulae, perhaps a meal or drinks with lots of new like-minded people is exactly right for you.
Now, in the interest of full disclosure, most of the images and videos here are from the star party that Awesome Astronomy run. It's called Astrocamp, but it's not run for profit, and this video is about all star parties. So this is not an advert, it's just general encouragement to make the most of the night skies.
And it means we've got a lot of royalty-free imagery and videos from our own star party. Now, a tent or a chair under the stars is a wonderful thing in most circumstances, but there aren't that many places in the UK where there are truly dark skies. There are a few international dark sky reserves, and these are the best places for star parties. Outside the UK, you also have to be very lucky to live somewhere away from the bright lights of the towns and cities that make the sky artificially glow. But even if you don't have a telescope, binoculars, or a star party to go to, looking up at the constellations, the planets, and spotting the occasional meteors, especially if you coincide it with one of the brighter annual meteor showers, is something we rarely do, and it can be not only incredibly relaxing or romantic, but bewildering or inspiring. Space and the night skies are perhaps the only places where the word awesome isn't hyperbolic. Hence why we call this YouTube channel and our podcast Awesome Astronomy.
And of course, you don't need a star party to enjoy the night skies. Many expert amateur astronomers only ever use their gardens or go on adventures to dark sky sites alone. But where star parties excel is in bringing the splendour of truly dark skies to those who want to socialise, share the experience, meet new people, or advance their hobby in super quick time.
If you're a beginner or just thinking of going to a star party to see what they're about, you're going to get totally immersed and see everything that astronomy has to offer.
And most star parties are held at campsites, as they can be hired exclusively for the attendees and kept dark. They're also very affordable, making it truly inclusive and available to everyone. But some star parties are held at country houses and castles. These tend to be quite niche, as they can cost many hundreds or thousands of pounds for the weekend, whereas a star party at a campsite will typically cost you far less than £100 or dollars, and include most, if not all, of the events held there too. But they're always away from towns and cities where the streetlights obliterate our views of the night skies, and that means they're often set in stunning scenery, with great walks and sightseeing to be done in the daytime. But one of the key benefits of attending star parties is the mixture of experienced amateur astronomers and absolute beginners. For that reason, it's always good if people mix and share experiences. A look through the range of telescopes at a star party is a great way to decide what's the right telescope to buy for yourself, consider equipment upgrades, or even decide over a weekend if this is something that you enjoy at all. People are always happy to let you look through their telescopes even if you don't have a telescope of your own, and they're also always open to questions about their equipment and experiences, even the giant ones that you need a stepladder to see through.
It's for those reasons that people who don't have any astronomy equipment should never feel nervous or unwelcome at a star party. We specifically set up an area in the middle of AstroCamp called the Common for those who want to share eyepiece views and socialise while they enjoy the night sky. If you don't have a telescope or binoculars, this is the place to go to enjoy stunning views of the cosmos through other people's scopes.
And these kinds of areas also act as focal points for events that will get you in the best shape for a night of enjoying the skies through things like practical demonstrations, such as this one where John from the Awesome Astronomy team's teaching people how to collimate their scopes. That is, aligning the mirrors in their telescopes so that the views are perfect for making the most of the nights ahead. Astrophotography gets ever more popular as imaging equipment gets cheaper and easier to use, so astrophotography tutorials are also popular at star parties. And here's Paul giving a sky tour with a laser pen while it's getting dark and picking out some exciting night sky treasures for people to find and enjoy.
There's a little double there, and that was good. You sit there and there.
He was looking at the podcast.
Yeah, we have done a little while ago, yeah. And then when you put a scope on it, that brighter star is actually 2 stars. Open up. That one there, everyone know what that is?
Yeah.
It's the Queen sitting on a throne, and of course she is sentenced by Zeus to sit on that throne and be upside down for half the day. Kind of off that star there, down there, is the Owl cluster.
Oh, is that one of them?
Yeah, it's just there, or the ET cluster. And it's a cluster of stars, and it looks like an owl or ET. Just kind of drop down, so it's about there. And you find it, and then right next to it is a galaxy as well. So you can get a nice 2-for-1 there.
Satellite.
Oh, satellite just going over, that's it. There's satellite, there you go. But the kind of heart of the Virgo supercluster is, unsurprising, in Virgo, and it's over here. But it extends out, and there's various other groups, like the 106 group up here and things like that sort of extend out.
The real benefits of these kind of events are that they're fully interactive. You're in the setting where you're going to be enjoying practical astronomy. You're making new friends and socialising, and you're also able to ask questions specific to your equipment or skill level, ensuring you get bespoke advice to help you understand the topic or increase your practical abilities. Other events you get at star parties are astronomy talks like these that Jen gave, and which are now separate videos on this channel available in the show notes below. The Awesome Astronomy crew had a panel Q&A at the last event and just invited questions on space, science and astronomy from the audience and got them involved in the discussions. Again, this Q&A is now also a separate video on this channel, so head to the show notes below after you've watched this video to see that.
Then there are other areas that are quieter and more suited to astrophotography, taking exquisite images of the night sky. This allows people to take long exposure images of particular regions of the night skies. These could be prominent galaxies, supernova remnants that are all that's left of a star that's violently exploded thousands of years ago, or mini movies of the planet's movements you can capture through a telescope with a camera.
And while we're talking about astrophotography, there's now also a halfway house between eyepiece observing and imaging, where certain telescopes have sensors and screens instead of an optical light path. This allows them to take images every few seconds and stack them together automatically to create super resolution images of faint deep sky objects that you can see developing in front of your very eyes through the eyepiece or on your phone or tablet.
It's even more now. Yeah. The actual, when we last looked at it.
That's stunning.
It's insane, isn't it?
Absolutely, yeah.
Oh wow.
High resolution.
Yeah, that's crazy, that is. That's not fair.
The photons from these objects aren't streaming into your eyes directly, and the images aren't quite up to the skills of dedicated astrophotographers, so these telescopes divide astronomers, but they will provide better views than any other amateur telescope, and actually quicker than any professional telescope. Then there are the shared experiences like solar observing in the daytime to safely observe or image the dynamic, fiery activity of the sun, or a Messier marathon where you try to observe all of the 110 bright galaxies and star clusters in the expanded version of Charles Messier's 1781 catalogue of deep sky objects. Not an easy trick, as Jen tried here. This also shows you how far phones have come in being able to take these images and videos in such dark conditions. And some of the images you can take of the sky with just your phone are incredible now. And it's hard to imagine how good nighttime mobile phone photography will be in 5 or 10 years' time. But that means even if you have no equipment of your own, you can go away from a star party with some great images of the night sky or of the moon or planets from just having your phone against a telescope eyepiece.
Star parties always avoid times of the year when the moon is around, as moonlight, which is actually the sun's light being reflected off the moon towards us, becomes a form of light pollution if you're hoping to explore the faint galaxies and nebulae that pop out in telescopes. You don't see many of the stars around the moon, and across the whole sky, faint objects are washed out by the moon glow.
So the moon is usually setting or a thin crescent at star parties, if present at all. That glimpse of the moon allows people to enjoy views of the moon and its craters without it whitewashing the fainter deep sky objects. So you get a view of everything the night sky can offer away from the pollution of streetlights and the glare of a full moon.
It's for that same reason that astronomers use red light instead of white light in their torches. It takes a good few minutes for your eyes to get used to the dark and let you see the faintest objects through telescopes. It's often said that it can take up to half an hour to be fully dark adapted, but after a couple of minutes it's diminishing returns, so 5 minutes is plenty enough time for your eyes to get used to seeing in the dark and resolve faint galaxies and nebulae in the eyepiece. However, white light is so energetic that it will immediately ruin that hard-won dark adaptation, but red light, being less energetic, preserves your ability to see those faint objects in the sky. So, if you're wondering, that's why many of the videos and images in this episode are bathed in red light.
Another astronomer's trick you might find useful is something called averted vision. Because the centre of your vision is packed with cones for high resolution viewing, there aren't as many rods, which are important for low light detection. So your peripheral vision is actually better for resolving faint objects. A bit like if you think you see something faint at night, you can look a little to the side of where you thought the light source was and see it a little better. Astronomers do exactly the same for faint objects in the eyepiece. They look a little to the side, above or below the object to help them see it better. And this is a technique called averted vision, and it helps you see ever more distant or faint galaxies through a telescope.
Both of these techniques are crucial if you prefer old-school sketching of the objects you can see through a telescope. I'm a massive advocate of sketching what I can see rather than imaging them with a camera.
But coming back to star parties, the greatest reward when running one is seeing new people enjoying a new dark sky site to set up their scope, and seeing people dipping their toes in the waters of practical astronomy, especially when they have no experience at all, and coming away from the weekend feeling encouraged, enthused and excited about how much of the galaxy and universe they can find for themselves, how much they've learned to put astronomy equipment together to give them those views of galaxies millions of light years away on their own retinas or on camera sensors that they've set up themselves. YouTube's great for learning about equipment or solving niggling issues. Astronomical societies are great for finding out what telescope is right for you or learning over a period of time.
Because star parties are a weekend of full immersion with all the friendly expertise on hand to solve any issue or answer any question. And they usually introduce you to new friends that you'll look forward to seeing each time you return.
So, we hope we've encouraged you to think about going to a star party. And if you ever come along to ours, we look forward to exploring the universe with you. But whichever star party you go to, you should come away from a long weekend feeling like you've reached a new level each time.